Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 426 of Prog Review. And today I'm talking about Mike Oldfield's Ommadawn, because forget all this back to the bloody future nonsense. Today is the 40th, count them, 40th anniversary of this here album. Yeah, it was released on the 21st of October 1975, and it's the third studio album by Mr. Oldfield. But then you already know that. Reached number 4 in the UK chart. And it's that trilogy. It's the opening trilogy of, Tubular Bells, which I think I've covered. Hergus Ridge, I've covered that one. And now Ommadawn. Oh, in there. It's the Trinity. It's the three albums that you need. Again, it kind of follows from Hergus Ridge. Whereas Hergus Ridge is a very pastoral, English, open countryside album. This one has those elements, but he brings in more European, Irish, Gaelic kind of influences, but more importantly, he brings in an African rhythm to the music, an African influence to the rhythm, especially with the drums in the later part of the first side. Again, what you hear, it's the same old stuff. It's Mr. Oldfield playing all manner of instruments, guitars, banjo, bouzouki, bodhrán, glockenspiel, organs, tubular bells, of course, synthesizer, everything, you name it, it's all in there. And again, the opening section begins calmly and works towards a very intense, let's call it intense ending. Again, that first section, side one, is enhanced by the drums of a Jabula. They're an African drum group that Oldfield used on this. Again, it's very unusual for him to use outside musicians. He often did everything himself, but he used them, and to great effect on the end of that first side. And it is that last section, I think, really makes this album, because it whips up into a frenzy. It's almost like a whirling dervish of a tune. It's a good rutting tune too. Good rhythm to it, if you know what I mean. It's music from the pelvis, if you know what I'm saying. Yes. And again, I find it a much more, in talking about the first side, I find it a much more focused and controlled, from Hergus Ridge. Hergus Ridge was a bit more kind of airy-fairy. This is a bit more, there's more focus in it. There seems to be more purpose in the music. And a real urgency. Again, it's a very short album, something like 36 minutes long, and it's a real urgency to get to the finishing line. And I like that. I like that energy. I like that energy of it. Again, you turn it over. If you had a record, I did listen to it on vinyl this morning. I didn't listen to this one, but I listened to it on the old vinyl this morning. And it starts with, again, loads of layers of guitars, all built up, and it again goes into this lovely section. Enhanced by Paddy Maloney's Uilleann pipes, and that section with the Uilleann pipes, that bit, the bit, it gets me every time. It makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It's just one of those musical moments that always, I don't know, just works. And if you read the recording, how it was recorded, Oldfield left the space on the tape for something to go. He didn't know what he was going to put in it, and he asked Paddy Maloney to improvise something in this space. And he comes in at I can't remember, like, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning, rock and roll, and lays down this instrumental piece, and it fits exactly, and it's like a one take wonder. It's like bam, it just fits, and it just and you don't, it's just perfect. And that, again, that's a real highlight for me. Side two, kind of, I wouldn't say that, no, it does. It kind of runs out of energy. It just kind of, after the very impactful side one with the drums and everything, I do find the second side I mean, it resolves itself nicely. It's just a shame that the sides aren't the other two, aren't the other way around. Because can you imagine if it ended with that, drum infused ending? That would have been a real ending to the album. But you haven't got that. That's not how it is. That's my only kind of criticism. And instead, the album kind of ebbs away. And then the final piece on the album is a song on horseback, which it's got a kind of festive feel to it. There's children singing, and it's all about the simple joys of life of being on a horse. And the lyrics are fun. The vocals are a little bit off key, a little bit funny, and you got this really great children's choir doing their thing to enhance the record, and that's how the song ends. It kind of sticks out a bit, mentions Hurgis Ridge. If you're feeling a little glum to Hurgis Ridge, you may come, that one. So you got an exophoric reference to the previous album, which is pretty cool, and this is it, and for me it's the end. It's the end of Oldfield, phase 1, because after that it goes to the exegesis thing and gets reborn, and we have incantations, which is a very different beast. And whereas this is a lovely, earthy, human, organic, that trilogy is very, very human feeling trilogy. Subsequent music kind of loses a certain touch for me. It loses that human touch. It's almost like some of that passion, some of that humanity has gone, and I think the exegesis training is responsible for that. I lay the same claim with Robert Fripp after doing the Sherborne House course. His soloing kind of lost that edge, lost that kind of human feel, and became more almost mechanical. So there's parallels there. People go in to change themselves, and I think they don't necessarily change themselves for the better. But I'm getting off topic. We should be talking about the album. So yeah, that's brilliant. And then he says, dropping it, don't worry, it's all right. Keep the mistakes in. Honour your mistakes. That's an oblique strategy card. But anyway, this was released in 2010. This is Mike Oldfield's deluxe edition, where they reissued it. You've got a 2010 mix, which is, it's pretty cool. The stereo mix is cool. It is faithful to the original. There's more detail in it. You get In Dulce Jubilo in there as well, and lots of stuff that you'd have found on the boxed collection, all rejiggered. Also get on second disc the original mix, 1975 mix, which is nice, and of course there's a DVD with the whole lot on surround sound, and again the surround sound really opens up the album for you. And again, if you're like me and you like a bit of surround sound, it's a really, really cool way of learning about the album, because you just hear bits that are really kind of buried deep. There's a real sense of space in there, a bit like the Hurgis Ridge and a bit like the Hurgis Ridge one. It's a really cool thing. So this is probably, if you've got to get a copy, this is probably, and you're not into the old vinyls, this is probably the ultimate one to get. I think you can probably pick it up for about £12 these days, which is very good. I think it's remarkable good value, because you get a good booklet as well telling about the making of, which is superb again, because you've got Mike Oldfield coming to the end, because he's gone through a lot of, you got to remember, this is a guy at the time who was under a lot of pressure to record music. He's on the rock treadmill, and that's the kind of the end of that trilogy. And then what we see next is kind of the Mike Oldfield phase 2, with Incantations onwards. I mean, in terms of rating, it gets I got to think of a thing. I ain't got much to go on here. It gets 5 Ommadawn's. That's crap. 5 Ommadawn's out of 5. Indeed, 5. It's a classic album. You have to hear it. You have to hear all 3 of them. It's hard. I mean, probably Tubular Bells is, familiarity breeds contempt. This is, it's one of my. It's probably one of my favorite of the trilogy because there's a lot of power and energy in it, and I like the African drumming a lot. It gives a rhythmic edge that's missing on the other albums. And again, I'm also, if you've watched the Ergus Ridge review, I'm a big fan of that as well. But again, all three of them, they sit together. It's the holy trinity of Oldfield, and they all need to be sampled together. So yeah, that's it. It's the 40th anniversary. My God, where did the time go? If you haven't heard this, you must buy it now. I'll put a link in the description, and that's it. My name's Darren Locke. I've been talking about Ommadawn, which is a fantastic album. Ommadawn is supposed to mean idiot. Remember, we've also got Amarok, which is the unofficial follow-up. We'll cover that one when it gets a special edition. That would be cool. But yeah, that's it. Only one more thing to say, and you know what that is. Apart from all the social media, check me out on the Twitface and the Google Plus and the Patreon, patreon.com/lock, music.darrenlock.com. You know all this stuff, But more importantly, you gotta prog on.